Hi friends, so as you saw in the Seesaw message probably, the video I made on Seesaw for this won't let me upload it to our Google Classroom. So here we are again. Hopefully this allows me to upload and not just upload a blank screen. So we're going to try again. So let's first look at our slide for vocabulary. So if you look, we have a fraction, a numerator, and a denominator. These are the most important words, obviously, with our fraction unit that we're going to be starting today. So a fraction is a way of representing a whole number. It's a way of showing equal parts in a way that shows parts are taken up. A numerator is the top of a fraction. And I'm sorry if the screen's a little shaky. I'm holding it with my left hand while I click with my right. So like I said, just bear with me. I'm sorry. So numerator is the top of the fraction, and that leaves the denominator being the bottom of the fraction. Oh my goodness, this is so shaky. I am so sorry. So we have the basis of fraction vocabulary. The fraction is the way of representing the whole. The numerator is the top of the fraction, and the denominator is the bottom. Now, a denominator shows how many parts there are total. Okay? But then the numerator shows how the whole is divided up. So how many parts of the whole are taken, and the denominator shows how many total parts there are. So we have fraction, numerator, denominator. So now, if we look at this visual, it may be a little bit easier. So, like I said in the first slide, the numerator is the top number. So this 1 is our numerator. It represents the number of parts. Now, this bar is just a fraction bar. It separates our numerator and denominator. And then our denominator, which is our 4, is down. The denominator is down, it's the bottom, and it shows the total number of parts in a whole. So we have numerator, fraction bar, denominator. So in this case, we have 1/4, meaning that 1 out of the 4 total parts are either taken, colored in, shaded in. So 1 out of the 4 are there. So now here, all you need to do is grab a circle. There's a bunch of circles up here. If you click and drag, you can see that there's a bunch. You're just going to go and circle the numerator. Now remember, numerator is the top number, or if we look back at our definition of numerator, represents the number of parts. So here you're circling to find the number of parts. Now obviously, if this slide you're circling the numerator, next slide you're going to be circling the denominator. And again, if we click back to that vocabulary page, denominator represents the total number of parts. So now you're looking at the total number of parts altogether. So you're going to click and drag just like we are going to do with the numerators, and you're going to circle the denominator. Now, if we look here on this slide, this is just examples of different ways to represent a fraction. So models are used to represent fractions. You need to drag the name of the model to the right to be the example of the model it shows. Now, if we look, we have fraction bars, shapes and models, number lines, and parts of a set. So if we look, we have to go and figure out which goes where. And if you look at the video I linked below in this assignment or under the Lesson 20 videos and resources, I think that'll be helpful for you to see what goes where. This is just 4 different ways to represent fractions. So this is showing 1/4. This one is showing 2/4, and so on, okay? So you gotta make sure you're trying to figure out why the colors are different and go from there. And now here, you need to match the model. So for example, 1/2, that means 1 out of the 2 pieces are going to be shaded. This 3/4 means 3 out of the 4 pieces are going to be shaded. 1/3, 1 out of the 3, and 1/4, 1 out of the 4 total pieces. Now, if you look, we have a bunch of examples over here. What you need to do is go and click and drag them to the right box. There's going to be more than one for each box. So if you look here, this piece of pie right here, it has this one little corner taken out. So we can assume that it also goes down and across, meaning 1/4. So then this one would drag over to the 1/4, and so on and so on. So you need to look at the pictures and match them up to the fraction. So for example, this one has one piece shaded out of 1, 2, 3. This one would go here, and so on. If you need any help with that, let me know, and I can walk you through on Google Message. So also, moving on, this one is basically saying how many parts total. So what is the denominator, or what would be the denominator of these pictures? So for example, if we look at this yellow shape, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means our denominator of this shape would be 6. So how many parts? 6. And then so on. You count all the pieces of all of these shapes to get our denominator, because the question is asking how many parts of each shape is shown. So that's our denominator. And then same idea here. How many parts do these shapes have? And then where this question mark is, you can just click and type, okay? So it should be very easy to manipulate on these slides. And then for this one, you have to do the numerator and the denominator. So remember, the numerator is the number of pieces shaded or colored in, and the denominator is the total number of pieces. So for example, this little guy holding the circle has a circle divided into 4 parts, and 2 of them are shaded. So here you would have a 2 in the top, sorry guys, it's hard to do with my other hand. So here would be a 2. See, I'm learning right along with you. Don't worry, friends. Take your time, do what you can. And then 4th. So that just means that 2 of my pieces are shaded, and there's 4 pieces total. So you're going to go through and do that for each of these. And then same idea with this page, and same idea with this page, okay? So these next 3 slides are the exact same. And then slide number 13 is just breaking it up into steps, and it does the same thing for slide 14 and 15. So it's just 2 examples per slide, and you're just breaking apart your numerator and denominator. So it says how many equal parts, so that's your total, that's your denominator. How many parts are shaded, so that's your top number, that's your numerator. And then it's having you put those 2 numbers into a fraction form with a fraction bar. And that's what you're going to do for the next 3 slides. So for example, this shape has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 equal parts, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are shaded in. So you would have 8, 5, and then 5/8 as your fraction. And you're going to do that for this slide, and this slide, okay? And then same thing for this one. Oops. This is your fraction bars. So it's another model instead of having a shape. But if you look, they're still labeled. So we have 1/2, or a whole. So instead of just having 2 shapes colored in, they're also giving you the fraction. But how many equal parts are there? Well, we have 1, 2. So there's 2 equal parts. And how much is equal to? So it's 2 equal parts, so 1/2. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know. I'm trying to do this quickly. And then same thing here and here, okay? And then also here. So again, it just breaks it up, and instead of having just plain squares, it goes in and puts the fraction. So this would be 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, all the way up. And then same thing here, 1/12, 2/12, 3/12. But instead of having it count on like that for you, it's giving you each unit of each little space. That way you can go and figure out how many equal parts. Well, it's 1 out of 12 here, so there's 12 equal parts. And then how much is 1 equal part equal to? 1/12. So I hope this video is able to upload. I hope it's able to help you kind of understand what the goals are for these slides. Again, this is just an introduction, so you shouldn't be knowing it all already. We're just starting fractions today, so please do not stress. And if you need me or have any questions, I am more than happy to go on Google Chat or Google Hangout or Meet, whatever you think is best, and walk you through some of these plans or problems and go from there. Again, this is all brand new information, so please do not stress. I am here if you need me. We're going to get through it together, and it's a new thing we're going to be working on all week long. So bear with me. Tomorrow we'll start with our iReady slides, and hopefully I can get a better handle on the video to work through those. And yeah, if you need me, let me know.